In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, and peace be upon you. Now, in Pakistan on a Saturday evening, this is Asim Munir's de facto form, 47 military rule, day 161. Now, let's move on to today's important news. And first, a piece of news that is mostly being ignored, but it's a very big story. The news is about 2 million Pakistani households. Even if you estimate 5 people per household, this news concerns nearly 10 million people. Out of a population of 250 million, we're talking about 10 million Pakistanis. And the larger effect of this is significant because people in these households must be working some jobs or providing some kind of service. Their share in the economy is about 25%, or if not 25, then at least 15 to 20%. We are talking about all those households who are currently residing in the UAE and now Pakistanis are being expelled from there. Initially, this matter was limited to videos circulating online. People who were being deported would record videos from there, whether they were being packed onto planes or when their mobile phones were handed back to them or after they arrived in Pakistan. They would record and upload videos saying that they were expelled because of their names, because they were Pakistani. But now I am presenting the news before you. I am presenting the news before you from the New York Times. The New York Times has, yes, 900 such individuals in a single village. I'm not talking about several places, but just one village. The New York Times managed to reach 900 such people who just recently, in the past 1.5, 2 or 3 weeks, were deported from the UAE, and all of them ended up in Pakistan. For this story, the New York Times traveled to Kohat, which is in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and near Kohat, in a village, there were 900 people who had been deported from the UAE. Were deported. The New York Times reports that most of these individuals belong to the Shia sect, and they believe that they were deported because of their names and their religion. Most of the stories they collected there are similar. For example, if someone was working in an office, they were called outside, their manager told them someone had come to see them, and then immigration officials or the police picked them up. After that, neither they nor their families knew what happened to them. Nor were they allowed to withdraw any money if they had it in the bank, nor to take anything from their office. They were taken straight to the immigration centers that had been set up for deportees, or if the police picked them up, they were handed over to these centers. From there, they were put directly onto a plane and deported. Similarly, many people were taken from their homes, but they were not allowed to take any belongings with them, and they were deported. People have spent up to 20 years there at different times. Those who spent time there, whatever they earned, any money they had, any property or anything else, they were not given any opportunity to collect or take any of it with them. Now, this is one form of oppression which the New York Times is now bringing to light, informing all Pakistanis and the whole world that Trump's favorite field marshal, with whom Trump Everett, UAE, what kind of treatment is happening there is now being brought to light. Now, what's surprising is that until just a few days ago, we were told that if you travel anywhere with a Pakistani passport, people salute you. But now, instead of a salute, the public is getting something quite different. But you should remember that just 4 or 5 months ago, when our field marshal's daughter got married, the president of the UAE made a special. It's a different matter that he only stayed at Chaklala Air Base and did not step outside. Whatever event was to take place, it was held right there at Chaklala Air Base. After staying for 2 or 3 hours, he then left from there to go hunting in Rahim Yarkhan. But he had come all the way from the UAE to Rawalpindi's Chaklala Air Base to attend Field Marshal's family function, to be part of that event at his home. So, on the one hand, and in regard to all of these complex diplomatic matters, we took specific actions that deeply frustrated and significantly upset both Saudi Arabia and the UAE, and now we are having to confront and endure the long-term consequences of that. But what is particularly interesting is that our country still seems as if it is living under the British Crown. A few days ago, we showed you a video in which the Colonel was sitting, and right behind him was a prominent official portrait of the late Queen Elizabeth. It too has adopted the conduct of the British Crown, as if it is not Pakistan's Foreign Office, but rather the Foreign Office of Britain or some other country. Because instead of diplomatically intervening in the whole matter that Asim Munir has messed up, the Foreign Office has issued a new statement. Along with that, the Ministry of Interior of Pakistan has also issued a statement. Both of them have. And that is regarding the claims on social media. The Ministry of Interior has clearly denied it. Deportation only occurs due to visa and legal violations. There is no policy to target any country or sect. Pakistani citizens residing in the UAE are there on legal work visas. Issues are resolved through diplomatic channels and on a case-by-case basis. Please refrain from spreading fake news. Instead of addressing the fact that these 900 Pakistanis from a single village, though who knows how many thousands of Pakistanis have actually come, instead, they are saying that 900 Pakistanis have been deported. Rather than becoming their voice, or the voice for those who are still in the UAE, and providing them with any assistance, our own Ministry of Interior and Ministry of Foreign Affairs keep issuing statements as if nothing is happening. In other words, if they have to lie, deceive, or commit fraud, they do it with the Pakistani public, but when it comes to fulfilling their responsibilities abroad, they simply don't do it. They distort the facts and dump the blame on the Pakistani public. Moving on, here's another lie for you. In DG Khan, there's a school called Little Scholars whose roof collapsed. Now, parents are saying that 16 children were martyred. The father of one of the martyred children gave an interview stating that a total of 16 children lost their lives. But the administration, the deputy commissioner and commissioner, etc., Wamni Monistadiv, Wamti Ininostayu Bap. They pressured the Rescue 1122 staff, instructing them not to leak any information, and claimed that only 4 children were martyred there. The bodies of the other 12 children were hidden. This is not the first time. Earlier, we told you about the Ministry of Interior and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and before that, what happened on November 26th, what happened on May 9th, then what happened in Muridke, what happened in Kashmir, what happened in 1971 in East Pakistan, and at that time in West Pakistan. That what were we doing in East Pakistan? So this habit of lying, that whenever they speak they lie, this has been going on for a long time. And now, even the true number of the young children who were martyred has not been told to the nation. What could be the reason for this? One obvious reason is that these days, celebrations of the Battle of Truth are taking place. Just last night, there were concerts, songs, and festivities. If they admitted that 16 girls had been martyred, it would have cast a shadow over these celebrations. Otherwise, no one, then it wouldn't have made a difference. But if the children belonged to the elite, or if they were important people, then it would have mattered. Otherwise, even if, God forbid, there had been 1,600 victims, it wouldn't have made a difference. Still, they felt that it would disrupt all their activities, so they decided not to let such a large number be known. They just recorded 4 girls as martyrs on paper and moved on with the matter, and as for the remaining 12, they buried them. Similar. Listen, Suno TV has laid off 170 employees. Khurram Iqbal, a journalist who reported this news, says that on one hand there is a ban on media advertisements, and on the other, the people behind Khilafat Kola, yes, this is the Blue Word City Group, they created Suno TV. They also want to establish a caliphate system in Pakistan, and they almost consider Asim Munir Sahib as the Islamic caliph, or at least they express it that way. Now, many people allege that this channel, Suno TV as well, might actually be a product of the generals. I have seen this before, during our government and even prior to that generals get certain business tycoons to invest in the media. Those tycoons invest for a month, 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, or a year at the general's request, and then they bear the losses. But of course, they can't keep pouring money out of their own pockets forever. There are land grabbing cases, or someone has a compromising video. These are used to blackmail people into doing such things. But after a year or 2 passes and they've spent a considerable amount of money, those people become wise to the situation. Then they catch hold of some major general or lieutenant general. They start thinking, why should we keep spending 30 or 40 million rupees every month on the channel and bearing losses, or even more, when we could just, why not just give one general 20, 50, or even 100 million and secure a permanent solution for themselves? So they take this second route through the media. Now, I don't know here whether it's the same issue here or something else, but usually people have the impression that the channels that are created like this are backed by the military establishment to target their political opponents. So take Suno TV for example. There are 170 employees who, first of all, weren't even paid their salaries for the month of April, and then they were let go. The atmosphere of fear is such that the poor workers who were dismissed, if they raise their voices about this, the generals might get upset and have them picked up, or a Vigo pickup might show up. Otherwise, just think about it. If 170 journalists were fired and no one in all of Pakistan even knows about it, normally there would be an uproar everywhere, strikes and protests happening all over. But all the journalistic forums are silent. These 170 journalists are silent, and other journalists are silent too. It means that no one has anything to do with this. No one cares at all. Moving on, the next news is that the Punjab Assembly has introduced a law has been passed which now gives Maryam Nawaz the authority to declare any area of Punjab a security zone. Once she declares an area a security zone, people cannot gather there, not to mention rallies or processions. Even more than 2 or 4 people cannot stand together in one place. They can also be arrested for this. In practice, it is like martial law in that small or even large area. They can declare any area they wish because now they have been given permission to create high security zones. The zone is entirely up to them. They could say only Mall Road is a zone, or they could say Lahore, Sheikhupura, and Kasur together form one big zone. They could say we've divided Punjab into 2 or 3 zones and we've declared all 3 as security zones. Or they could say there are no villages, all the cities are security zones. Within these zones, you are not allowed to protest. So the point is that now, practically speaking, just as Bhutto Sahib was made Chief Martial Law Administrator, I think the same should be done for Maryam Nawaz. If you can't make her the chief, then create some position for her at the level of Chief Minister and appoint her as Martial Law Administrator so that under Asim Munir, she can implement all her directives and martial law can be formally and practically enforced. On the other hand, no one knows for sure about the accuracy of this, but in WhatsApp groups, this news has been circulated that President Zardari has been asked to resign, and that he is either resigning or is about to resign. I am not saying that this is true. Let me repeat that I am just relaying what is being discussed in those groups. I am not confirming that he is actually resigning, but the buzz in those groups is that he has been asked to step down, and there is a lot of speculation about whether he will comply or not. If you impose it on the whole city, on Mall Road, or on any area, then no kind of rally or protest, whether by teachers, doctors, political parties, or anyone else, can take place there. But now, to all the physicians who watch my vlog, I want to ask, is there any injection, like a shot, that we can give to our MPAs to make them a bit more bold? The MPAs we have here in Punjab, then we have the opposition leader there, then the parliamentary leader, then the deputy opposition leader, then there are many other fiery speakers. For example, 331 children were expelled in Taunsa, and the PMLN just swept this issue under the rug. Our people didn't seem to clearly address this news. A plane worth 1.3 billion was shut down. The health card was discontinued. Hospitals were privatized and left in a terrible state. Schools were privatized and left in a terrible state. In short, nothing was spared. But the opposition we have there, only 99 are left, and that's not really an opposition. Many of them have gone abroad and are sitting there, and they've been given the freedom to come to Pakistan whenever they want and leave whenever they want. Some have gone and settled abroad permanently. We have received documents that show that quite a few people are currently living abroad, and they have no interest whatsoever in participating in any way in the assembly. Whatever the lady is doing, the opposition that should have come from Punjab is not happening. Moving on, there was news that the federal government has decided to shut down the Benazir Income Support Program, and along with that, it was reported that now it will be transferred to the provinces. The provinces can run it as they wish, whether they want to run it or not. Obviously, Sindh might continue it, but the other provinces may not want to. Maryam Nawaz definitely won't continue it. The reason is money, as I told you before. The military generals want the money to come directly back into their hands from the provinces. They are also taking back health and education because there is big money involved in those sectors. In the Benazir Income Support Program, the federal government invests the money, which is why they said this. And during our government, there was also the ASAS program, which they immediately shut down. Now, this Benazir Income Support, they want to run it, so they transfer it to you and say, run it with your own money, and if you want to give money to people, do it from your own funds. So this is another thing they have shut down. Listen further. The Zarai Tarakiati Bank Limited, which provides small loans to farmers, is now also being decided to be privatized. Even the IMF objected to this, but the IMF generally supports all such privatization measures. So, whichever private management takes over, they will make it so difficult for farmers to get small loans that it will become hard for them to borrow, or they will offer loans at very high interest rates. That's why, since the Zarai Tarakyati Bank gives small loans to farmers for buying equipment, seeds, and fertilizers, you should not sell this bank. Keep it under your control. Although, to be honest, this bank has already been ruined because time and again, the heads of this bank have been appointed on political grounds, especially by the PPP and PMLN, who have wreaked havoc with it, but now the decision has been made to sell it. Now, let me share some news from the battlefield with you. CNN is reporting that US intelligence agencies have now made a new assessment that Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, is making decisions very sharply. Now here, and the New York Times and CNN have also probably reported that both of Ayatollah Khamenei's legs have been amputated, God forbid, or that he has been bombed and injured, and that his face has been badly burned, and that he is unable to make decisions. First, these reports about him were given. Then the Iranian president said that he had a 2.5-hour meeting with the supreme leader, and after that he also shared what was discussed. After that, now CNN is saying that the assessment of US intelligence agencies is that Khamenei is making decisions very effectively and is highly involved, and whether it's negotiations or war strategy, he is orchestrating everything from behind the scenes. So that's the first piece of news. The second news is that Iran can withstand a naval blockade for several months. This is BBC's analysis. BBC says that before this, the Washington Post. According to the Washington Post, Iran can endure the blockade imposed by America for the next 4 to 5 months, the blockade of their ports from all sides. They can withstand it for another 4 or 5 months. It's a different matter that some media houses claim that Iran's economy is very fragile and that they can't do it and that everything will collapse. But the assessment of BBC and the Washington Post is that they can manage. However, you also need to look at the reverse side of this. If the blockade really does last for 4 or 5 months and Iran manages to endure it, then of course things will deteriorate within Iran as well. But think about what will happen around the world, because oil prices in Pakistan, for example, even when global oil prices didn't rise, they still increased locally. So if the blockade continues in the coming days, oil prices will rise even further. Then where will people go? How will they cope with inflation? How will people be able to handle inflation? After this, the next news I have to present to you is that Iran's Karg Island, this is the same island from where 90% of Iran's oil is exported, because the ports in Iran do not have deep water. This island belongs to Iran and has deep water around it, so they have set up their oil export system there. So 90% of the oil is exported from Karg. Now, what is being revealed through satellite images is that the oil around Karg is contaminating the seawater, and you can see this in the images. What is the reason for this? Obviously, it is due to the bombing carried out by the US, and then Iran also targets different tankers. But this oil is spilling from Karg Island, so clearly the leakage is happening right there, mainly because of the US bombing. Because when Iran attacks tankers in the sea, the oil, of course, then spills into the sea. Since this war began for the first time, Iran's parliament has called its first online session. So, Iran's parliament will be meeting for the first time since the ceasefire and the start of the war, and there will also be a session of the Iranian parliament. After that, the next news is also from Iran, where insurance companies and different companies now have to process claims for damaged vehicles. At least 30,000 vehicles have either been completely destroyed or partially damaged. Now, moving on to the next news, in which Al Jazeera has aired a report. In this report, Al Jazeera has stated that the Pakistani military wants to be recognized as Pakistan's defense institution, but its real claim to fame is not defense, it's politics. From building roads to being involved in many other businesses, they are engaged in all sorts of enterprises. Essentially, they run all those businesses themselves, the government. They are the ones involved in all aspects of politics as well, forming and toppling governments, and they want to be known solely and exclusively as the defender of the country, as a purely defensive military, or as the army that protects the nation. Interestingly, even Al Jazeera has understood this point. While it took Pakistanis years to realize it, Al Jazeera grasped it quickly, that Pakistani military generals want their recognition to be they defend the country, but their positions are varied. They're involved in everything from cement, gravel, insurance, you name it. There's no field left untouched. They're entrenched in every sector and continue to defend their interests there. But what they want is to be known only as defenders of the nation. Now, on one hand, Al Jazeera aired this news. They broadcast a documentary. While on the other hand, ISPA released a highly charged patriotic song, Allahu Akbar, Tayyar Hain Hum, launching it once again. This song had been launched before as well, and now once again the same patriotic anthem, the military song, has been released. So, our response to Al Jazeera's documentary has been this song in which we declare, Allahu Akbar, we are ready. Moving on, the next news comes from GHQ Rawalpindi. Tomorrow morning, that is, on May 10th at 8:40 a.m., a ceremony will be held in which the chief guest will be the Army Chief, Chief of Defense Forces, Field Marshal. Syed Asim Munir will be the chief guest. This ceremony will take place in Rawalpindi inside GHQ, and it is being organized as part of the Marka-e-Haq series. So the celebrations you witnessed yesterday will continue the day after as well. In Peshawar, you also saw that we removed the Indian flag and hoisted our own flag in Peshawar, inside the Imran Khan Cricket Stadium. You witnessed that event too. Yesterday, a concert was held in Lahore. There was also dancing and music, and there, Mariam Aurangzeb asked, Lahoris, are you enjoying yourselves? Are you having fun or not? Of course, the people of Lahore enjoyed it. Everyone enjoys listening to music. What's so bad about organizing a concert? It's a good thing. People went and enjoyed themselves. There's nothing wrong with that. But the problem for the people of Lahore was that when they left their homes, they needed petrol to get there and to come back as well. The other specific kind of fun that you provided for them involved the deliberate act of making petrol incredibly scarce and hard to find, an experience that turned out to be even more memorable and lasting in their minds than anything else you had done. By creating such a significant shortage of fuel, you ensured that every single person involved would never forget the challenges they faced, making the entire situation a truly unforgettable chapter in their collective memory that they would talk about for many years to come. And along with that, they also captured 91,000 of our soldiers and made them prisoners, and our army surrendered there. The images of our army surrendering and the weapons they had are still kept in their museums today. Now, that same Manek Shah, whom India considers to have been the commander of the Indian army at that time, their chief obviously, they give him a lot of credit for how he orchestrated everything. When Ayub Khan and others were taking actions that could lead to the breakup of Pakistan, at that same time, Manek Shah was making plans so that Pakistan would indeed break apart. In other words, both were making similar plans, one against his own country and the other in favor of his own country. Anyway, today people are writing on social media that even after such a great success, Manek Shah lived an ordinary life in a simple house. He used to take care of vegetables in a small house, kept animals, had no large bank balance, no long line of guards or servants. He lived a simple, ordinary life. And for more than 30 years, he was not given any kind of privilege, whether he became a field marshal or anything else. It was only in 2007 when Abdul Kalam Azad, who became the President of India, granted him 13 million lakh rupees check. How much is that? 13 million. Our generals spend that much just playing golf in a month. That's how much their expenses are. And I'm just talking about the expenses of one general. Imagine the cost of maintaining entire golf courses. Who knows how much that would be? So 13 million rupees was paid to him as his full 30 years pension, or whatever you want to call it, which the government had not paid for 30 years. Just think about it. In our country, field marshals, here, even those who aren't entitled to something still take it by just putting their thumbprint. But just imagine if someone actually has a right, how they would go about claiming it from us and what would become of us. But over there, what did Manek Shah Sahib do? That's right in front of you. Anyway, let's move on. Let me play you a video. This is Aimal Wali Khan. Listen to what he says. You know, he isn't picked up. In fact, he is made a senator. He's from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, but they go and make him a senator. Listen to what he says about our generals from Balochistan.
Go now, hurry. You must go immediately to that border. Every single day at that very border, our beloved and sacred homeland is being systematically sold out to the highest bidder. You must remember that the watchman is not the true master of this land. The watchman is merely a humble servant. It is the people who are the rightful masters. Therefore, you should take action and form a comprehensive investigative commission to uncover the truth. I will bring not one, not two, not three, but 50 people to you who will testify that the colonels demanded money from them. Was Radio Pakistan set on fire by people in uniform, or did they take off their uniforms before burning it?
You heard it yourself, but despite this, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf is still called traitor, and between 13 to 15,000 Pakistan Tehreek workers have been picked up and thrown into jails. Moving on, the IMF has approved Pakistan's next loan, or has approved the next installment, $1.2 billion. Such news comes out. But what I wanted to tell you is that now you are the ones who have to pay back this loan. No one else will. So get ready, you are even more in debt now. Along with this, now the same journalists have been made to report that the IMF loan they have accepted all the IMF's conditions just to secure their own jobs, which is why the government is very upset with them, because they have agreed to such tough conditions that now even more inflation will have to be imposed in Pakistan. In other words, they have no choice. It's not like anyone is happy to increase prices. These tout journalists are now trying to build this narrative so that at least a little bit of leeway can be given. The last piece of news for you. When the time comes, you'll find out. This was a slogan raised by Maryam Nawaz Sharif. Now, there's a very old Patwari, Ser Anwar or Anward, I'm not exactly sure what his name is, but I keep an eye on his account on Twitter. He's a Patwari and spends all day defending the false and misleading narrative of the Noon League. He says that his entire family is associated with the Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz. Just now, his father called and he was cursing them. Sabdi has cursed the current government, both the Punjab and federal governments. May God protect us. In 45-degree heat, my father left the bike and car at home and walked to the mosque for prayers because fuel has become so expensive. My elder brother, who is a businessman, is cursing them too. In this intense heat, these people have destroyed our businesses. At 7:30, the Paraforce thugs come to force shops to close. This year, more than 90% of shopkeepers are selling old summer stock. They don't even have money to buy new goods. This is such a... Allow me to take my leave from here.
Please feel free to go ahead and proceed with what you were doing, as we are now ready for you to continue whenever you would like to start.
May God be your protector and helper. Long live Pakistan.